Hi, and you're listening to the Super Game Bros podcast. This is episode 13 called Falling Out Backwards. I'm joined this week, as always, by David Morris, Danny Black, and Andrew Driscoll. Will's not with us at the moment, and he probably won't be joining us. However, this week we're going to be discussing on the show Fallout 4. Is it as good as everybody's making it out to be? And backwards compatibility and how much that changes the game for Microsoft and Xbox itself. But before we go into part one, where we're going to be discussing backwards compatibility, I believe David has got a statement on behalf of us here at ramblemedia.tv. David?
Okay, thank you, Ricky. This is a little something that we have put together in response to recent events. Liberté, égalité, fraternité. Those words are the national motto of France, and roughly translated, they mean liberty, equality, and brotherhood. And they stand for a commitment to a society where all are equal and freedom is at the core. The attacks on Friday in Paris could be seen as a direct challenge to these words. However, the people of Paris and in France have responded magnificently with displays of public solidarity and the quite brilliant hashtag Porte Ouvre, or open door response. If you were stranded in Paris on Friday, Twitter offered you a way to find a safe place to stay, offered generously by the Parisians themselves. Now, all of us at Ramble Media utterly repudiate the attacks and stand shoulder to shoulder with the Parisians in a display of fraternité, supporting their liberté and supporting our common belief in égalité. We say hashtag Porte Ouvre to our French gamer colleagues. Thank you.
And with that, let me just say that all of us here at ramblemedia.tv are thinking of all the French people at the moment. But join us again in part one, where we're going to be discussing backwards compatibility. And you're back with the Super Game Bros podcast. This is part one, where we're going to be discussing backwards compatibility. This is episode 13, entitled Falling Out Backwards. Now, backwards compatibility, for me, this is a major issue in gaming. When the new consoles came out, when the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 first came out, none of them were backwards compatible. And then obviously at E3 this year, Xbox announced that they were doing backwards compatibility and that it was going to be launched this year. And it launched the other day with, I believe it was 104 games on the list, including such luminary titles as Mass Effect, the God of War series, for example. Now, David, I know that you're a big fan of backwards compatibility. That's correct, yeah.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Andrew, I believe you're an Xbox One owner as well. Have you had a chance to mess around with backwards compatibility? Do you think it's going to be a major game changer for Xbox, especially in the run up to Christmas and the holiday season?
It's got the potential to shift a few more consoles, I think. It's not an issue for me, so to speak, because I still have my 360 as well. But a lot of people, I do know people who still are 360 owners that don't want to build a games collection from scratch on an Xbox One, especially at £50 a new game now. For them, it's got to be a massive thing, especially if they say they've got 6 or 7 of the titles now, combined with the games for gold that have been out in the past. They've basically got enough there to justify owning the black, horrible-looking console.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair comment, Andrew. For me, I think backwards compatibility is the game changer that puts Xbox on the front foot, because no longer is it a question of looking back and dragging the 360 generation console owners forward. It's very much about how you can come and play your games here, and you get all this new stuff. Plus, you get all the great things like you can record clips, you can take screenshots. I had a couple of people following me who were like that. Wow, you can do this on 360 games now. I follow this stuff pretty close, so I know that you could do the game clips and the screenshots. I was playing Assassin's Creed 2, which I had picked up as a free games for gold a few months back. I suppose before it was officially announced, but with the idea that, you know what, if this becomes backwards compatible, I'll get to play it, and I've got this license. It's probably the third time I'm playing Assassin's Creed 2, which I think's incidentally a fantastic game. But I'm sharing clips and I'm doing screenshots and getting interaction. So you have that next gen experience on my old games, which is absolutely fantastic. So for me, it looks it's game changing. When they turned back compat on, 2 minutes after that was tweeted out, I went to my Xbox One, went to my games collection. There was 5 games waiting for me to download right away. It's like fantastic, and they've done it really, really well.
So it's been an excellent service so far.
Absolutely. As long as the game's on the list, then if you've pre-purchased it digitally, it's just waiting to be installed, which I think is amazing stuff. You just literally click on the button and install it. If you've got the disc, you fire the disc in. Again, it has to be on one of the 104 games on the list, which is a fair-sized list for a launch catalogue. And it downloads a digital copy. You still need the disc in the Xbox. That's kind of like that's your validation that you own the game.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of starting to wonder, do I have an old copy of Call of Duty Black Ops? Because that's, although it's not on the original list, they're saying that's going to be coming out sooner. I would expect to see that in December. I mean, in December they're talking about Halo Reach, Halo Wars, Call of Duty Black Ops, 3 Bioshock games, and Skate 3, which I know least about. But that's like another 7 games right away, many of which I think will be big favourites for people.
Yeah, and they were, fan favourites at the time that they were released originally. Now, Danny, as a PlayStation 4 owner like myself, what's your take on backwards compatibility? Do you wish that PlayStation, do you hope maybe PlayStation are going to announce at PlayStation Experience in December that there's the possibility of local disc backwards compatibility, or do you think they're just going to stick with putting all the games on PlayStation now and having people pay a subscription?
I think how they're going to counter it is the PlayStation Now offer like a subscription service, but if you're a PlayStation Plus owner or subscriber, that it's already free for you. I think that's what they're going to do. They have said that they're not concentrating on backwards compatibility, and PlayStation Now isn't really an answer for that. But I've got loads of games on my PS3 that I would love to play, like Bad Company 2, Black Ops 1, to name a few. Red Dead Redemption is another great game. Everybody, I'm sure, is here has played it.
Yeah, fantastic game. Rockstar, having some of their best moments. The problem with the PlayStation 3 games is the PlayStation 4 itself isn't powerful enough to be able to emulate the PlayStation 3 hardware, which was always an issue. That's why there's no successful PlayStation 3 emulators for the PC, whereas there is for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. And in fact, there's at least 2 of those emulators where you have local disc compatibility. What my worry is that have Sony missed out? Has the PlayStation department of Sony, have they missed out on to me, Xbox launching this, it is a serious game changer. The system architecture from the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4 is so wildly different that the PlayStation 3 games, there's no chance that they're going to run without you streaming them, which is what the PlayStation Now service is for. Yeah. But I've used PlayStation Now, and I noticed that there was a couple of PlayStation 2 games on there. So what worries me is that instead of doing local disc backwards compatibility, which would be fantastic for somebody like myself, I've still got quite a large collection of PlayStation 2 games lying there because I've got a working PlayStation 2. I would prefer to be able to put them into my PlayStation 4 and do what David does, play, take pictures, take screenshots, stream them, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Twitch streaming works, game clips works, screenshots works. They have game hubs where you can follow other people who are playing the game as well. So the social experience that you have on the next gen is faithfully replicated for these 360 games. To all intents and purposes, they just run fine. I played a couple of hours of Rainbow Six Vegas, for example, on Friday when it kicked in, and it was like, wow, this is. You can tell the difference in, if you like, looking at where that game was in the life cycle of the 360 and the graphical fidelity. You can see kind of where things have changed and moved on. but it's still a very good game, and it was running really very, very nicely. I saw no kind of stutters or anything at all like that. I've seen a couple of those on Assassin's Creed 2, but like Assassin's Creed 2 is just like a major game, and a brilliant game, one of my absolute favourite games. It would probably crack my top 25. I don't want to be too over the top with it, but I've got that for free, and I clicked a button and it downloaded, and I'm playing it, and it's saving my games to the cloud, and I get to do all those great things. I think if you want to do the comparison thing, when it was announced at E3, Sony's response was, no idea how they done that, and we don't think we're going to do that. So unless they're beavering away in the background to see if it's possible, then I think this is just, there's going to be a divergence in the offerings between the platforms. And where I think a number of 360 owners have probably moved up to PlayStation 4 for a variety of reasons, I think the Xbox One is going to look awfully attractive.
I do agree, but like I said before, PlayStation Now is their offering, but that's very limited. In the sense you need good internet download speed, which nearly everybody has. I'd say about 70% of the population, maybe less. I know myself, it's not great for me. But I still want to play my classic games like Black on the PS2 or Medal of Honor Underground.
Yeah, well, you see, my issue was that Sony, way before E3, Sony were asking, the multitude on Twitter and whatever, what they would like to see, what new features they would like to see. And obviously you had the untold millions going, change your gamer tag. And then you had guys like myself and some of the more, shall we say, not so much hardcore gamers, but some of the regular gamers, people who have been playing games for a long time, on basically a nightly basis, all asking for backwards compatibility. The issue there is that Sony knew people were wanting backwards compatibility. They just didn't do a thing about it. Now, does that mean that they're just going to ignore their entire fan base for this whole generation? Or is it going to be something else? Because I don't remember, and I'm sure David and yourself, Andrew, would be able to tell me, that I don't remember Microsoft asking anybody. I don't remember the Xbox division asking anybody if they wanted backwards compatibility. They just went ahead and done it.
I think there's a little bit there, Ricky, just very quickly to drop in.
Yeah.
Phil Spencer went and challenged the engineering teams like weeks after he got into position as the head of Xbox and said, can you do this? Because there's an official Microsoft Xbox user feedback site, User Voice, I think it's called, and backwards compatibility was, because it was designed to try and collect ideas for features on the Xbox One dashboard. So people would make suggestions, but backwards compatibility was the thing over and over again. And Phil Spencer had kind of said that, like within weeks of him moving into the role, went to the engineering team and said, can you do this? And for 6 months, they made absolutely nowhere. And then they had a breakthrough, and after 6 months, they were actually able to run a game and run it on the Xbox One in an emulator, and it was like, all of a sudden, it built momentum from there. So there has been undoubted fan demand for 360 games on the Xbox One, but the consistent thing was, we think it's too difficult to do. Well, all in the while, you had teams of people working on it in the background. Is something similar happening at Sony? I don't know. I don't know the how to interpret the PR speak from Sony versus what actually happens, but my sense is they've done a feasibility study, they've looked at it and said, too difficult to do. And I don't think they have. I don't think they're able to do it just from a technical perspective.
Can I just add as well, PlayStation Now doesn't actually have to be used on a PlayStation console, it can be used on other platforms. I'm not sure exactly what platforms, but I know
Yeah.
you can use it because it streams. And that's the advantages of PlayStation now, is you don't need expensive hardware to run
But
it.
in essence, you have to. What do you? I don't understand the service particularly well, Danny. So I mean,
Hmm.
a subscription, do you get a set number of games, or can you play any game?
I
You
think
can
it's a
play any
Um,
of them. Any
yeah,
of them, David. What it does is it streams the actual game footage into your machine. Everything gets saved to the cloud, that sort of thing.
yeah.
Uh,
Fine.
the
Through
issue I,
Geico.
the
it's
issue I have with PlayStation now is it's a $12.99 subscription.
pricey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So if I've
Very
already,
pricey.
if I already, yeah, exactly. If I've already paid good money for a game, like for instance, The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
I bought The Last of Us brand new, right?
You've
So
got a PlayStation 3 disc of that,
yes, right.
and you can't play it, but they
I can't
expect
play
you
it.
to pay more money to play that game again.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. That's my issue. Obviously, with the system architecture, unable to emulate the PlayStation 3 architecture, I completely understand the technical difficulties. Personally, I would prefer it if Sony said, right, see everybody who's got PlayStation Plus, you get free access to
Yep.
PlayStation. See, if
Can
you
I?
don't have PlayStation Plus, you still have
Yeah.
access to the PlayStation Network, the way it was with the PlayStation 3.
Mm,
Because if I'm completely honest, which I pride myself on being, the PlayStation Network it is not as good as the Xbox Live Network, right? And that's me being completely honest.
yeah.
The Gaikai network that PlayStation now uses is a far superior network, and I really wish they would switch the PlayStation Network over to it. They're not going to do that. So I'm sitting with a good few PlayStation 3 games, and I can't play them because I now no longer have a PlayStation 3, but I've got these collector's editions of games like The Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto 5 to name just two, and
Yeah.
I can't play them. I
Can I?
can't
Can
play
I?
them unless I
Yeah.
pay more money.
Can I just add a PlayStation experience? I think they may announce, and this is me hoping, that if you've got the game already, either digitally or on disc, that you can play it for free through PlayStation Now. I think that's what they may announce.
But
I could see them doing that.
they would still want you to pay the $12.99 to
No, no, no,
subscribe.
no. I think
No.
they'll announce that if you've got the game, so long as you've got the game, it's free to play, free to stream. You know,
See
that'll
the
be
see
the
the
answer.
see the thing with back compat on the Xbox is
Yeah.
you have to prove that you've previously purchased the game and then you get the game. All that Microsoft are doing is they're preparing a digital wrapper around the game which makes it compatible to play on the Xbox One 360
Mhm.
emulator. So effectively all you're doing is you're validating what you're doing. So yeah, Microsoft are throwing money at this and they're getting nothing in return. But what I think they will get is massive goodwill from gamers. Gamers are loving it. The kind of the buzz on Twitter on Friday when this kicked off was I saw one guy, he had 65 games on his backwards compatible list.
Oh,
65 games.
That's
And,
like my
and
list.
65 games that he's obviously purchased digitally,
Mm,
and they were all there for him to play. I mean,
yeah.
that, and for me, that's where it's like, do you know what? We're valuing our gamers here, guys. This is how we're doing this.
yeah. See, sorry to interrupt, David, but I mean, Sony they've built themselves, PlayStation's built themselves up here on for the players,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, well, if you were really doing this for the players, you would be giving the players what they want and what they're wanting, and what's been happening over the last year and a half is more and more people are saying local disc backwards compatibility, especially for the PlayStation 2. I mean, the PlayStation 2 had the largest catalogue of console games ever. I mean, the Xbox 360, I believe, had something like 1,760 games by the end of its lifespan. The
Mm,
PlayStation 2, whose lifespan, by the way, only ended on the 1st of January 2013, the PlayStation 2 had over 2,000 games for it. So, just for its library alone, having PlayStation 2 backwards compatibility, in my opinion, that's a no-brainer. And I don't know why they're not doing it.
um,
Now,
See,
Andrew,
see,
have you had a chance to mess around with backwards compatibility at all?
I've played a couple of things. I was on the preview program, so I've tried it with. I think I tried Mass Effect.
yeah.
My main problem with it has been the downloads are sizable. It's basically the size of an old Xbox DVD. You're putting 7 gig on quite a small hard drive. But in my experience, I've tried Just Cause 2 more recently, finished installing last night, and yeah, I agree with you. The experience is as if you're playing a disc. You wouldn't notice any difference.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
Yeah. Sorry.
so
The PlayStation Now, right? I think, in my opinion, a PlayStation experience, they will announce that if you've got the game digitally or on disc, all you have to do is put the disc in the PlayStation 4, and somehow it might recognize it. There's a disc in it and what the game is, but it may not play it. But you can
I
play it through
think
PlayStation Now. I
I
think
think
that's what they may.
I think recognizing the disc won't be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a
There's still
problem
a
at all.
format, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's whether they can put a working copy of the game onto your machine or stream a working copy of the game to you is the challenge. And you
They.
know,
Yeah.
I accept what Andrew's saying about like the downloads.
Mm,
It doesn't matter whether you've got the game on disc.
yeah.
They're downloading, if you like, the single version of the true version of the game. Never mind whatever kind of else you've got. And incidentally, if you bought DLC before, you get the DLC now. You don't have to repurchase DLC, so that's there as well.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that, David, because that was going to be my next thing that I was asking. Is like if you bought, say, for instance, I don't know if any of you bought the Fallout New Vegas Game of the Year edition, where you had all the DLC and all the
Of
missions,
course.
all sorts of madness. And I bought that. My wife bought me that for the PlayStation just as a random present. I had that in the PlayStation 3, and great game and all that. But I'm thinking if I've got a Game of the Year edition on the Xbox, right, on the Xbox 360, am I going to get everything that I get with that when I use the backwards compatibility for the Xbox One? Or
So I think it's an interesting question because if you have purchased the DLC and you register that against your account, so whether it's on a disc or whether it's digitally, the fact that your purchase of that DLC has taken place against your gamer tag is still registered, and so you'll still be able to get it. If everything's on the disc and you don't have to install it separately, so effectively you don't have to input a code to bring that DLC into the game, then I'm not sure how that works. So I think there are still some questions that need to be worked through on that. But if you've purchased the DLC, the DLC will be there.
yeah,
Yeah.
see, for me the main contentious issue is that right now you've got effectively it's local disc backwards compatibility on Xbox One,
Yeah.
and Sony have countered that by making us pay for streamed copies, which I may add, regardless of whether or not you're capable of streaming them, they still, even if you had like 300 meg upload speed, you would still get the message saying, please, use an Ethernet cable to use PlayStation Now. To me, that's kind of Sony hedging their bets a wee bit by saying, right, we've got this thing for you people. You can pay us money for this thing, but see, just to make it a wee bit better for our side, to make it easier on us, we need you to do this thing as well. And whereas, to the best of my knowledge, Xbox aren't asking that. Xbox are saying, here, put your disc in. We
What
download
Xbox are getting you to do is you download and cache that copy of your game on your hard drive. So,
it.
you know, external hard drives are the order of the day if you've got a lot of games. That's just going to be the reality of things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm getting one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I picked up a 2 terabyte hard drive because I was getting to the point where I would have comfortably used up the internal drive, and to be honest, that's been a really good experience as well because that was literally plug and play, click one button to say I want to run games and apps off this, and away we went. It's been fantastic.
Well, there you go. So I think we can safely say in conclusion that backwards compatibility is a definite game changer from Xbox point of view. From Sony's point of view, I actually think that Sony are worried about it and they want to see how over the next couple of weeks how it develops. Pardon me, before they decide whether or not they're going to do any kind of announcement, whether they announce at PlayStation Experience that if you've got the disc and you put it in, you get free access to it via PlayStation Now, or whether they turn around and say, right, 2 apps have just went on the PlayStation Store, they're free to download. One's the PlayStation 1 backwards compatibility local disc emulator, and the other one's for the PlayStation 2. Sorry, we can't do the PlayStation 3, but we've provided you that with PlayStation Now, and if you put the disc in, you get free access to that game. If they do that, then I can see the playing field being a lot more even. But right now, as you said earlier on, David, I think Xbox have took a giant step forward in catching up with Sony at the moment. We don't know what's round the corner. We know that VR is going to be released next year, and both machines are going to have access to a VR headset, whether it be the Oculus Rift or whether it be the PlayStation VR, which we'll all still call Morpheus anyway, because it's a much better name.
Yeah.
But the point is, between now and then, it's all about backwards compatibility, in my opinion, regardless of what the exclusive titles are. Halo 5 smashed all sorts of records when it was launched, but still, it's not. It's not a machine buyer. It's not making people go out and buy machines. Whereas backwards compatibility, that will.
So
That's
what
I think. That's my conclusion.
I think this is where some of the value adds on games are going to start to come through. You buy Fallout 4, and there's a link forward for you, on the Xbox One, and you get a free digital copy of Fallout 3. You buy Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which is the first game remastered. You get all 4 Gears games. You buy Rainbow Six, and you get the 2 Rainbow Six Vegas games for free.
See, that's brilliant.
And so from value, it's like I have another 4 copies of the Gears games in their original 360 form available. So, if I get snowed in this winter, and
yes.
I'm going to be fine. I'm going to get loads to do,
Exactly. In fact, that's what myself and my wife done last year. We just sat in and played Bound by Flame. But that's an entirely different story. So I think it's safe to say, that we can easily conclude that right now, maybe Microsoft, the ball's in their court, and it's down to Sony to try and claw something back. Would you agree with that? Would you say that backwards compatibility has changed the game somewhat for Xbox?
I think it's put Sony on the back foot. And I think when you look at the new dashboard, which is running faster, when you look at backwards compatibility, you look at the games list, such as Tomb Raider, Halo, Gears, Forza. There's just a slew of great games coming out that you can only get on the Xbox One. It does start to make for a compelling argument to purchase an Xbox One for people.
And would you say the same, Andrew?
Yeah, well, backwards compatibility is never going to harm. It is going to convert people up from 360 to 1. If you're holding on to your old consoles like me, not so much, but there are plenty of people who can't have multiple consoles, don't want multiple consoles, and they are now going to see this as the green light to step up the generation.
You take your 360 into game and you get 40 quid for it, there's another game you can buy right away.
Yeah.
And you can still play all your old 360 games.
Add it to my telly. Friends. I got a PS3 in there as well. So.
Oh well. And what about yourself, Danny? Do you think it's a game changer, or do you think that Sony may have something up their sleeve?
I think Sony might announce something up their sleeves regarding PS Now. Whether that be that if the games that you have previously bought are free on it to play or not. I don't know, but we'll see at PlayStation Experience anyway. What surprises they have.
Yeah, and
it's definitely a game changer for Xbox. I'm happy for them.
Yeah. Now, PlayStation Experience is in early December. I think it's December the 15th. Yeah. And I think it's once again coming for Las Vegas. So we can only speculate until then. But PlayStation Experience is the next, and I think it's the last big thing on this year's calendar where we can expect any kind of announcements, whether they're hardware-based or software-based in any way, shape or form. Now, David, you mentioned earlier on Fallout 4 and how you can get a free version of Fallout 3 with it, so I thank you for that link. Join us in part 2, folks, where we're going to be discussing Fallout 4 and is it as good as they say? Hi and welcome back to part 2 of the Super Game Bros podcast. This is episode 13, Falling Out Backwards. I'm your host, Ricky McMillan. I'm joined as always by David Morris, Danny Black and Andrew Driscoll. And we're now going to be discussing Fallout 4. Now, if I'm perfectly honest, and I've got to be honest from the very start here, I myself, I don't have a copy of Fallout 4 at the moment. I haven't played it, and I have assiduously avoided all mention of spoilers, glitches, and general nonsense, particularly by people called Leroy Jenkins. I'm looking at you, Danny. However, so I don't want to spoil it for our listeners. However, guys, I know yous have all played it, so
I've not played the game, Ricky. I mean,
have
I've
you?
kind of read plenty about it, and it's on my list of games to get.
Yes.
It's not top of the pile. I got to say, Tomb Raider's top of the pile, but Fallout 4 definitely is a game I want to play.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll go to you, Danny, because I've been inundated all week with status requests and all this about some bloke called Leroy Jenkins. So tell us, what's your Fallout 4 experience? Would you say that it's as good as what people are making out? Now, bear in mind, on its launch day, it made $750 million.
No, that's a hell of a lot of money.
That's
So
Grand
it's
Theft
just,
Auto 5 level. So
but yeah, I would definitely say it's worth the money. I haven't got to play it too much this week due to other commitments, but like anytime I've played it, I've just loved hours upon hours in that game. It is my game of the year for sure. Nothing has come close to it this year, in my opinion. Just so much freedom between your character customization, what you can do in the open world. You can build your own house. You've even got your own dog to follow you around. Um, it's definitely not a reskin of Skyrim or previous Fallout games. It's a game in its own right.
Yeah, just for you mentioning there about it being a reskin of Skyrim, there was an interesting comment made by one of the people at Bethesda that said, as a technical challenge, they ported Skyrim onto the Xbox One just
Hmm.
to see that it could be done. And of course, people were immediately going, "Ah, oh no, Skyrim, Skyrim." They're not doing it, but
Uh,
they just did that for the fun of it.
yeah.
see, I don't get why people love Skyrim and Oblivion so much. They bored me
What?
to death. I love role playing games. I
Mhm.
truly love role playing games.
Yeah.
Right? I still to this day, and I'm 40 next year. I still to this day play Dungeons and Dragons. You know, the tabletop paper and pen thing.
Mhm.
Right? I still to this day play that. So I'm thinking Skyrim, Oblivion, digital equivalent. Doing something I've done since I was 11-year-old.
Yeah.
No, complete garbage in my opinion.
Can
Utter,
I?
utter dross.
Yeah. Can I just add as well? The reason maybe you don't think it's as good is because you maybe didn't experience it on like PC. PC owns a
I played
whole.
I played the first three Elder Scrolls games on PC,
Did
Morrowind
you?
and that. Yes, I played them on PC, and I thought, particularly Morrowind,
Yeah.
I thought Morrowind at that time anyway, Morrowind had the right structure, the
Yeah.
right level of gameplay, the right learning curve for an RPG of its
Mm.
kind. Oblivion,
People.
if you played Oblivion, you could you could just pick the joypad up and you were playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
Right? There was no learning curve. It was go here, kill this guy, collect this, take it back to this person. Go
Mm.
here, kill this guy, blah blah blah. I mean, it got to the point where I was telling people who'd been playing who've lost 100 hours playing Skyrim. I was
Yeah.
telling them how to max out their spell casting
Mm.
right at the start of the game by going to the guy that teaches you how to fight sword fight and just cast spells at him.
Yeah.
You do
The
that for an hour and your spell casting gets up to 100.
Yeah, the reason people liked Skyrim so much was because of the mod community on PC, is particularly behind it. Uh, I've seen some crazy, really funny mods. I think that's why people were so fond of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
speaking of mods, Bethesda have already says that they're going to allow console mods
I
for
know.
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Andrew, do you think that that is something that people are going to spend time doing? Would you spend time creating a mod just so that, you know, all of us could sit and laugh at like a flying horse or something like that? A
You can get it
transformer?
through glitches anyway.
Well, aye.
Um,
We're not talking about the glitches just yet.
But personally, I wouldn't, because I have not the inclination or skill to create a good mod. There are people out there who see mods as kind of their personal thing, where this day a thing they create. Some of them started selling them, but that's been quickly stamped on.
Yes.
For the consoles, it's, as far as I understand it, it's only selected PC mods. You can put what you like on PC, as per always. There's Fallout 3 mods, there's Skyrim mods to do. And I think I saw one that replaced all dragons in Skyrim with wrestlers. Don't know what wrestler.
Thomas the Tank Engine as well.
I've seen the Thomas the Tank Engine. That was good.
Right, I can understand the ridiculousness behind mods and how they're so funny and things like that, but still, it's a console game. I want to play the game as it was intended. I don't want to halfway through the game see something where, it's a guy firing a bow and arrow, and when the arrow leaves the bow, it becomes a double-decker bus. I don't want to do that.
I think that. I think it's definitely a end of game thing. If I'm going to use mods, I'm going to play the absolute hell out of Fallout 4 first. I'm going to find everything I can find, and when I've done that, which is in the distant future, then I will think, can I enhance my experience further, add more mods to it? Is there anything else I can do? Sorry.
I think it's only going to enhance the game. You don't have to use the mods. You can do the vanilla game if you want, but I myself will be putting every mod I can.
Can I just point something out here, listeners? This is not 50 Shades of Grey, so when Danny says vanilla game, he's talking about the normal game as you buy it in the box.
Yes. But
what are the consoles that existed?
The mods that you will be able to put on the game will be through their creation suite. The ones that are created through their Bethesda Softworks creation suite. There is mods already out for the game, quite funny ones that create like God mode and stuff like that, like Godzilla type creatures.
See, I'm gonna come in here because although I've not got the game and modding, I think, see if somebody wants to do a mod and do a YouTube video, I'll maybe watch it. But I've got very limited interest in thinking like, do I want to install that on my own machine? Now, that's just me, and obviously there will be different opinions out there. But for me, if you want to produce funny videos for YouTube, produce funny videos for YouTube. If that's what it's all about, then fine. But I don't honestly see this as being a big deal. I think it's nice that they're doing it. I think it's nice that they're saying can, but I don't know. I think it's for a select audience, personally.
So do I. I don't think it's a thing that will catch on. I mean, I've seen some mods that they've done for things like Grand Theft Auto 5, and while some of them can, they look funny, they tend to detract, I think, from, the whole point of the game. I mean, my best impression, the impression I get from Fallout 4 is similar to Fallout 3 and the previous incarnations of Fallout, that you're basically trying to survive. It's not a case of the nuclear holocaust has happened and you're trying to survive the aftermath of that. You're actually trying to survive the aftermath of the initial Fallout anyway. So you reach a point where you leave your vault, whether it's Fallout 1, 2, 3 or 4, you leave the vault and then you effectively broaden your character's horizons, because up to that point your character's been stuck in this vault for their entire life. Now, I don't see how putting mods into a situation like that is in any way, shape or form going to help me play the game. Now, if the mods enable you to do things in the game that you're able to do anyway, just easier, then fair enough. But if the mod involves me shooting a gun and double-decker buses or the Starship Enterprise or dragons or, as Andrew says, wrestlers appear, I don't want that sort of thing.
Appear from out of nowhere, if you will.
But if we have mods that make the game easier, we used to call them cheat codes in my day.
Yes,
and it's like, it's like, if that's what you want to do, you want to dumb down the difficulty or whatever, then that's perfectly fine. That's an individual choice. I can't honestly think of a mod that I've heard about, and to be honest, I don't pay an awful lot of attention to it, where I would think, oh gosh, that sounds brilliant, must do that, because I just haven't heard that.
Yeah,
There are,
neither have I.
in their defense, not all mods are funny, humorous. They don't all replace characters. Some of them,
No.
especially in Fallout New Vegas, I think a lot of them added new missions to the game. Some of them fixed bugs that were breaking achievements on the PC version. There were constructive reasons for some of these mods to exist, and they did in that case. I've never owned a PC version of Fallout because my PC would not handle that, but they did help the game. They expanded, they included new missions. Say, I think there was one that involved going to space. I can't remember what game that was for, 3 or Vegas. But there are occasions where these can benefit. If you've finished every mission in the game and somebody adds a new mission to it, it's not going to harm for you to give it a go.
Some of the
May
mods
not.
as well actually made the game look better.
Oh, high res packs, yeah.
Yeah, like Skyrim and that, you know.
So I suppose in that context, I've seen a high-res pack that was done for the original Half-Life. So you went from the original Half-Life to a high-resolution version of Half-Life, and that was actually really interesting. And now I don't necessarily would I consider that a mod. I suppose it's a mod. There are things that I suppose that fall more into the realm of patches if they fix glitches or DLC where they give you additional content. I don't know. I'm not real big on it. But I think it's great that they're allowing it. The question will be, what's the value add?
Exactly, and to me, mods don't add any value. They're fun for 5 minutes, as you said, as Danny said. You can make funny videos on YouTube with them. That's really the only, and I use this term very loosely. That's really the only benefit that I can see that mods give. But we're completely digressing from the subject at hand. So, as I said, I haven't played Fallout 4. And David, you haven't purchased it as yet. However, Danny and Andrew have both played it. Would you say that Fallout 4 is worth the money? It's better than Fallout 3?
Well,
this is my first Fallout game, so I'm not sure. But as a Bethesda game, yeah, it's definitely worth every penny.
Oh, Fallout 4. I played Fallout 3 to death. I played Fallout New Vegas to death, and this immediately feels like another step forward. It's worth, well, if you can pick it up for £40, it's well worth £40. Don't buy the season pass. Never buy a season pass. But yeah, I've played 10, 12 hours or something like that into it at the moment, and I've barely scratched the surface of the actual story. There's so much going on and so much you can do. The base building takes time. You can wander around, do what you like. You can find side missions. When people say about it's a thing of Skyrim, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. You can do essentially what you want, only it's a much bigger world, and it looks a lot prettier than Skyrim ever did, obviously. It doesn't necessarily look like The Witcher 3 or anything like that. It's not the prettiest game now because it's on a... How old is the engine? 9 years?
It's not as big as the Witcher 3 map either.
It seems bigger for me so far, I'll be honest. But
no, it's not. It's they've actually come out and said it's not bigger. Witcher 3 map is huge, like
350 kilometers if it was like, for real. However, Just Cause 3, which comes out next year, that map is 400 square kilometers. So, I don't think it's
a lot of stuff to blow up.
Yes, it is. It is. Now, I don't think it's a question of technological capability of the console or PC or whatever. I think it's more, especially with the games like Fallout, I think it's more, I don't think it would have mattered how good the game was. It could be a 2D side-scrolling platformer and it still would have sold millions just because it's Fallout 4. People have been waiting, 8 years for this game? 8 years. That's nearly as long as The Last Guardian. And to me, is it as good as what they're saying it is? I don't know. Is it being built up on the hype expectation? Again, I can't say definitively 100%. Is there things that detract from the gameplay? Well, I've seen glitches. flying horses, people with no face, things like that. I don't know if it's a game that I would consider purchasing right now. I might give it a couple of months while they fix this aspect and that aspect. The other thing that worries me is, does it have a high replayability factor? If after you've built your base, you've escaped your vault, you've fell in love, you've collected as many bottle caps as you can, you've killed every bad guy gone, you run everything, you've got laser pistols, all this. See, once you've done all that, is there anything that's going to make you go back and play it?
It'll
I
probably
think
be
so.
somewhere in the middle of next year then, though. If you're
I
going to
think,
hit anything, it's going to take you so many hours.
yeah, it's got loads of replayability factor for me, for the simple fact you can make different characters with different stats.
But the story will always be the same.
Yeah, but
To a
It-
degree,
It's just that the character's abilities determine which way you approach the story. But if you've already played it once and you know what's going to happen next, you can
You've-
prepare your character for that.
yeah, you've multiple choice answers though as well to each question that you're asked.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
still, eventually you'll have covered all the bases.
Yeah, that's going to take ages though. It's going to take
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of hours.
you're going to be able to fight on different sides, take different sides of an argument. There's one mission, sorry, spoilers. There's one mission relatively early in the game where you come across, it's not a mission, it's just a quick fight, but you come across a diner where a woman and his son are living. They currently owe money to the local drug dealers, as you do. I don't know what else you do in the post-apocalyptic wasteland. You can approach this fight any way you want to. You can go, come on then, drug dealers, let's kill them. You can back up the woman and her son and kill the drug dealers. You can talk the woman down. All of that affects your reputation. And from there, all of that will affect how other characters interact with you, what other characters you can have as companions. And so you could approach things. Certain missions won't be available if you take one stance. Certain characters won't speak to you if you take another stance. There's going to be so many things you can go back and do in a different way. I think you could be playing this game for most of next year as well.
I also would say that I don't think the replayability is simply limited to the fact about how much exploring you can do. I'm on my third playthrough of Assassin's Creed 2. I kind of know where everything is. It's been a while since I've last done it. Absolutely loving it, having a great time in the game. And for me, that's the key fundamental question: is will you have a great time in the game, yes or no? And there are games for which you can probably say, yeah, absolutely. So, I replayed Mass Effect, had a fabulous time doing that. I replayed Assassin's Creed 2, having a really great time playing that. There is a whole other side question which says that maybe it shows kind of how far off the beaten path that the more recent Assassin's Creed games have gone, and whether they need to kind of go back to the roots a little bit with the Ezio trilogy or something like that. But that's another conversation.
Yes.
I just don't think that replayability is limited to the kind of size of the game to be explored.
But for a lot of gamers right now, replayability is tied into things like multiplayer, and there seems to be a distinct lack of Fallout multiplayer, which is extremely.
I'm kind of torn on that. I think the Fallout, the story of a guy out on his own in the wilderness. If you checked your mate in co-op on that, you're kind of destroying that feeling. It's no longer you out fighting for yourself in the wilderness. It's you and your mate having a chat, and that's not what I'm looking for from a Fallout game.
I would actually wouldn't mind multiplayer, so I could show my friends, oh look, I've got see an exploit or something that might help other players.
Well, you mean like the bottle cap glitch?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, but we'll not go into that because that is again a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Now, the way I see it is, I will eventually get Fallout 4, but much like yourself, David, I have a list of games that I have to get them first and play them first.
Sure.
And, I mean, for me, top of that list is The Last Guardian. I've waited 9 years. I can wait another couple of months. For me, The Last Guardian, it's gonna rule, but that's my opinion. Fallout 4, I'll eventually get round to playing it, even if it means I could walk into a game tomorrow and find a second-hand copy. Somebody who hasn't liked it. That sort of thing. And then if I've got the money, I might buy it, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Whereas I know a lot of people who are furious at the fact that they weren't able to get their Pit Boy edition, or that they weren't even able to go into the local game store and buy one of a select amount of Nuka-Cola bottle beer things, or things like that. So I think there's a lot of hype that's been generated around Fallout 4, and I think a lot of people have bought into that hype, and I don't know if that hype has led to it being as successful as it was on its launch day. But when you look at it in retrospect, a couple of weeks down the line, it's
Oh,
going
yeah,
to be a case of that might have been a mistake buying that game. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But the people who have played it, the people who have bought it, yourself, Andrew, yourself, Danny, that's the kind of thing that I need to be convinced about. I need to be convinced that whether I buy it now or whether I buy it in a year's time, I'm still going to enjoy that game. And that's what the vast majority of consumers need to know as well, because there are people who haven't went out and bought it, and they're waiting not so much for the first reviews, whether it be from ourselves at ramblemedia.tv or whether it be from other sites. They're waiting to see what their friends say, and most people won't say anything until they've completed a game. But if the game's as large as what people are saying it is, it's going to be months before anybody completes it. So
yeah.
does that in and of itself take away from gamers like myself, gamers like you, David, who have waited or who are waiting for another, waiting to see what other people are saying? I mean, if Andrew was to turn around on this Friday and say, by the way, guys, completed Fallout today, you have to get it. The story's brilliant. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a must. It's a definite. You must buy this game. If Andrew was to say that, or even if Danny was to say that, or any of the other members of staff at Ramble Media, I would be saying to myself, right, okay, well, if they're saying it, I trust their judgment. I'm going to go out and get it. But if I'm buying into the hype surrounding this game that everybody's been waiting for, am I getting
If
the experience that I'm wanting, or am I getting the experience I'm expecting?
if it was purely hype, we'd all be buying Call of Duty, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Well, no, because I like to play Battlefield because COD is a fish.
Yes, but
But
we
that's
but
my
but
take
but
on.
it's like I think there's enough uh, in enough that I'm hearing about Fallout and the materials that Bethesda have put out that make me think, you know what, this looks like it'd be a fun game to play, and it'd be worth sinking some time into.
Yeah.
The fundamental question about am I gonna get 20 hours out of it? I'm gonna get 100 hours or 200 hours out of it. I honestly don't know. But that's kind of part of the roll of the dice that you take when you get yourself a new game, which for me will be a new franchise because I haven't played any of the Fallout games before.
Oh,
I haven't either. I haven't either. It's my first Fallout game.
you've completely missed out on some utter pieces of just genius, just tiny wee glimpses of genius, like the sarcastic robot Andrew in Fallout 3 outside outside Megaton. Brilliant. You can't beat this robot. It's great. It's more sarcastic than Groucho Marx. It's brilliant.
So, if when I get Fallout 3 code for back compat, then yeah, I can look forward to that. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it's the fact that you're getting the additional game, the game before in for free, is a really good incentive on the Xbox. But I've seen enough that would make me think that looks like a really interesting game to play. Um, I'm
Yeah.
I'm kind of committed to that. If you wanted to kind of flip flop it, where I know we've had an in-depth discussion about the Star Wars game on here, and for me,
Yes.
I don't think there is any real hint of replayability on that. Um, People on Xbox One are playing that just now through EA Access. Um, I'm not sure that after the 10 hours you get on that preview, I would want to play it again. But hey, do you know, that's
Yeah.
Well,
just
if
Well.
people want to watch me play Fallout and see for themselves whether they like it, I'm doing a Leroy Jenkins series at the minute with this character. He goes out and he gets himself into sticky situations, and he may or may not survive.
But then that's what.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yes, but then that's what the game.
Leroy Jenkins.
That's yes, exactly. To me. That's what these games are about. It's more the fun aspect. I mean, Danny, you've created a character. You've created literally an identity and a backstory independent of the game.
Yes.
And, that's fair enough, and you're having fun with that. And I believe that fun, more than anything else, whether it be replayability factor, whether it be graphics, sound, gameplay, anything like that, fun is the number one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're playing video games. And so the question, when you get all the questions together and you boil them down, it comes to one question. If I'm going to go out and buy this game tomorrow, am I going to have fun playing it?
I think the answer from my perspective is yeah, I think I will.
If you enjoyed 4-3 that much, I just don't see how you can fail.
Right. And Danny, would you say that if I asked you right now, if I say to you, I'm going to buy Fallout 4 tomorrow, which I'm not, by the way, and just, hypothetically, if I said that to you, and I said, am I going to have fun? Not is it easy to play, not is it graphically brilliant, is it sound-wise brilliant. If I turned around and I said, am I going to have fun playing this game?
Yes, but with caveats.
Which would be?
If you don't like open world games, don't bother with Fallout. Simple as.
Well, an open world game, I know what to expect with Fallout, so
yeah.
Again, it comes back to, am I going to have fun?
Oh yes, definitely. If you know what to expect, then yeah.
So, can we conclude then, in the last part, that Fallout 4 is, from a consumer's point of view, it is a worthwhile purchase, whether it be brand new or whether it be second hand, or even if you're, going to go down to your local store and give them hundreds of games just to get one game, is it something worth doing from that point of view?
Yes.
I would absolutely say that, yeah.
And David, obviously, you yourself, you can't draw that.
That's been a couple of months, Ricky. That's been a couple of months.
Yes. I think we'll do that, actually. Now, as I was saying, that's the end of part 2, and that's all the time we've got for this week. And I think we can safely conclude that backwards compatibility is a big, vast game changer, and that Fallout 4, while probably fun to play, is something that you have to experience yourself. It's not something that you can discuss with hundreds of people before you can go and play the game. We here at Super Game Bros, as David made right at the start, a statement regarding the events in Paris on Friday, and we here we feel for the families of those involved. But that is the end of this week's episode 13, Following It Backwards. If you do have any questions about this, or indeed any other episodes which are available on iTunes and now on the Stitcher app, then you can contact us using the email address sgb@ramblemedia.tv. This week's show was sponsored by g2a.com and No Scope Gaming Glasses. I've been your host, Ricky McMillan. There have been the discussion panel, David Morris, Danny Black and Andrew Driscoll. From us folks, that's game over. Enjoy your gaming.